like you've been using me. Feels like you've been using me. You're quite the marksman, ain't ya? I think my heart's in danger. Made me feel like I was safe and sound, and switched up and switched off the safety. How you plan? How you plan? Oh, yeah. Oh, feels like you've been using me for target practice. You drew a block, caught it a bullseye. Repeat shots and then the firelight. Feels like you've been using me for target practice. Call me sensitive when I cry, but you don't miss a single time. Feels like you've been using me. You say that I'm mistaken about all the shots you've taken. All the pain was a mess somehow. There are blanks as you claim, getting desperate now, 'cause I found out. Oh, yeah. Oh, feels like you've been using me for target practice. You drew a block, caught it a bullseye. Repeat shots and then the firelight. Feels like you've been using me for target practice. Call me sensitive when I cry, but you don't miss a single time. Feels like you've been using me. Feels like you've been using me. Using me. Using me. You said, I think I'll give you a shot. I should have taken it literally. You said, I think I'll give you a shot, but your pistol was concealed from me. I should've known that you'd be using me, using me. Now I see that you, baby, you've been using me for target practice. And you better know I ain't gonna have it. No, 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 no. I'm about to you do more damage. Oh, 'cause it ain't for target practice. No, it ain't for target practice. You've been using me for target practice. And you better know I ain't gonna have it. No, no. I'm about to you do more damage. Oh, 'cause it ain't for target practice. No, it ain't for target practice.
Drinking at the bottle, not thinking about tomorrow. Don't worry, that's a motto, so we keep moving along. Driving down a Cabo in a sunburnt Eldorado. Don't worry, that's a motto, so we keep moving along. So we keep moving along. So we keep moving along. Drinking at the bottle, not thinking about tomorrow. Don't worry, that's a motto. So we keep moving along. Ooh. Driving down a Cabo in a sunburned Eldorado. Don't worry, that's a motto. So we keep moving along. So we keep moving along. So we keep moving along.
I got too much on my mind. I got too much on my mind these days. Still be dealing with your mood swings. Start back, you baby, please, no games. I got too much on my mind. I got too much on my plate. You just wanna know, child. I just need some talking space. I just need another day. Need to find another way. Girl, I used to play some sports, but I'm sick of all the guys. Now I don't care about your plans. Girl, I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm just doing what I can. It's big about it, like your chance on your mind. I got too much on my mind these days. Still be dealing with your mood swings. Start back, you baby, please, no games. I got too much on my mind. Start back, you baby, please, no games. I got too much on my mind. Start back, you baby, please, no games.
One night, one drink, one dance, now it's one fight. Last shot, last chance, and I'm alright. I don't need your ass. Keep on playing games and I'ma leave your ass. Hey, I'm falling off without you. When I'm off the AO, I don't think about you. I can do the fade love, my heart don't know how to. You just make me hate myself when I'm around you. These ain't growing pains, you just ain't the same. I can't take this change, baby, please.
Girl, I got too much on my mind. I got too much on my mind these days. Still be dealing with your mood swings. Start back, you baby, please, no games. I got too much on my mind. Start back, you baby, please, no games. I got too much on my mind. Start back, you baby, please, no games. Girl, I got too much on my mind. Girl, I got too much on my mind. I got too much on my mind. I got too much on my mind.
Ooh, that sugar sweet. You got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion. Just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the motion. Loving this devotion. Live it up, live it up, live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I on a roll. Switch it up, switch it up, switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control.
Welcome back. It's your favourite two people on a Tuesday afternoon. Where else would you rather be but here watching the Goose House League of Legends weekly skirmish? This week, we're back to 5v5, the standard kind of make your team bring it to the pool, see who could be crowned champion. And who could be crowned champion is Aaron straight away, for coming each and every week to join me for this. How are you doing, my guy?
It's Beanie. It is always a pleasure to see your pretty face and cast alongside you. I'm so excited to get into this first match of the day. It's going to be an absolute banger. I can already feel it.
Yep, semi-finals. They've already played one game, so we've already had one round robin. We're now into the semis, and then we have the finals coming up. We'll be watching one of these teams. Who we got today is Toontown Enjoyers against Woof and Sniff. Yes, we did not create the names. Hopefully, their gameplay is so much better than the name making. As I know, Lloyd asked us actually what we should call them. We gave suggestions, and they didn't actually go for any of our suggestions.
Yeah, I feel like our suggestions were actually, perhaps a little bit too high caliber for this team. We see the faces that are in this Toontown side. We see Daniel's in there. We see Connor's in there. Milky, he's already got sauce and whipped cream on various parts of his body as we are preparing for this game. So, yeah, I feel like our suggestions were perhaps a little bit highbrow for this team, but maybe if it doesn't quite go well for them this week, they'll come back to it and listen to the professionals next week.
Hopefully so. So yeah, we've got I would say, our regulars, should we say? They're coming out. Lloyd, actually, I know he jumped in a couple of weeks ago as a substitute, but this is his team. I'm going to call it his team, as that's what he was saying. He's playing on the Zeri, so go on Zeri, hopefully for the second game as we go into the semi-final. Go on Zeri, exactly is. But Woof and Sniff's a team, I don't know any of these names actually here. So before we go down into your corner, I kind of want to go for a few little updates, because Split 2's now happened. We didn't have it last week, okay? We're now into Split 2 of the ranked season. There was updates coming out. Nefari being one of those new champions that potentially coming in through the ban. But you've got some great little things on a support that was really annoying on my side when I used to main a support sign in Xerath. So we have a few updates that I think we're going to go through as well in the stats corner. But let's trigger our way down into the basement, into that corner, and start that little lovely loft jazzy music.
It's my favorite part.
It's It's just glorious, like absolute glorious.
Yeah, it's quite, yes. So we are now on patch 13-14, and boy, there have been not as many changes as I perhaps would have liked to have seen, but there are some champions which I think that are going to crop up in today's skirmish that have definitely been buffed on this patch. Xerath is a champion which you have already sort of noted. This champion right now, he had some really, really nice changes to his passive and to his ult that really propels him in the mid lane, but he also gives him some nice flexibility down in the support role as well. We know for a fact that Crota, although traditionally he has preferred like the Brand and those kinds of AP heavy casting supports, listen, if the Xerath's good, you just got to lock it in, and we could see that on Crota today.
Yeah. Coming up is Shyvana, the Dragon Lady herself. I've banned away after a couple of games where she's giga strong in the fact that as soon as you get Dragon form and you fire one of those Qs, like you're pretty much exploded dead. It's a huge version of the R version of Karma. But some here, we just saw it in the last game actually. CTM Daniel playing the Malphite into the Jax of Jay. Famously, Jax is Jay. So Malph now giga inflated, and Jax has died off the earth. But Aatrox is coming through as well, and I duo with a Aatrox main, and it's definitely getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, Aatrox is just one of those champions which I think has benefited from little buffs here and there. And, I definitely think that he was in a decent spot last patch, but I think this patch is going to be the one that really propels him back to being one of those picks. I believe into the Malphite matchup. I think we saw it last week, actually, the Malphite Aatrox matchup. I believe Cleo played it into someone last week. It didn't quite go well for Cleo, if I remember correctly, but I think there was some shenanigans with the team there. With that said, Aatrox into Malphite, I feel really favours the Aatrox, at least early on. You have got as Malphite, you are just burning through mana all of the time, trying to stay in your lane, and the Aatrox is constantly pummeling you. It's a really miserable lane to play into, or it can be at least, without jungle support.
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm now remembering. I was like, I don't remember a couple of hours ago, let alone last week. But generally speaking, the Aatrox has definitely done a very, very well. But I want to go back to support, but also jungle. We've been seeing this in pro play a little bit. I wonder if anyone's going to bust out the Rel in the jungle. Obviously, Rel had some buffs a while ago, but it's only really come into factor, I think, from stuff like the LCK, people backing up from China and things like that, where this Rel is actually kind of disgusting and paired with good ADCs, which we now see in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we're going to see Rel in this skirmish in particular. I think she's still quite a janky pick. Whereas I feel like obviously a lot of the players in these skirmish will traditionally stick to their comfort. But it is nice to see that Rel is starting to get some picks obviously elsewhere in the jungle. I feel like players have finally gotten their hands on her, managed to spend enough time with her in the jungle to really get a grasp of what she can do. And I think that we are perhaps going to start seeing it a little bit more. But maybe not so much in the skirmish today. But hey, look, we could be surprised, right? We've been surprised before here. We've seen some really wacky stuff pop up here on the TGH skirmish. So, we could see some little horse tech, little ponying around the jungle.
Pony around. And one thing I want to now go through as we go into sort of like before we get into team select, should we say? Or I nearly said agent select. This isn't Valorant. Valorant was yesterday. Today is our day. Today is League Day. And obviously Lloyd, by the way, our CET, our Amen CET, running the show for this team. ADC, I've been playing the Ashe a lot. He's been playing the ADC on the Ashe a lot alongside myself. Go on, Zeri is a term as an old MSI.
Zeri.
There's a story behind that. We kept shouting at MSI right in the back, and it was an empty MSI as well. Hilarious. But the Lulu obviously being paired with that, as you said, with Dota and Joya, Crota on that. So he's already picked something like the Lulu, which is off meta for him, let's just say. But the Ashe, if that gets banned out, which I'm assuming it's going to be, paired against someone that we don't know, who also has played stuff like the Ashe, but a Vel'Koz main in the mid lane normally.
Yeah, very, very interesting with the Vel'Koz there. I think it's interesting, obviously, looking at what you're just saying about Crota actually going for the Lulu as opposed to something that he's more traditionally comfortable on. I think that just goes to show that the trust that he has in his ADC, in the power of his Zeri, and I think that's a good sign for this Toontown team. They clearly have some good synergy going on in that bot lane, and hopefully, no matter what kind of gets banned Lloyd's way, they're going to be able to make it work.
Yeah, Milk has come away from the arenas, come away from making sure he has 50 gold in his pocket after every turn. The master TFT player that we have in our lobbies is currently back in the mid lane, out of kind of retirement, shall we say, and played the RE quite cleanly as we were watching post-game inside after the first one. Very much a mid laner, loves a bit of the Sylas, loves a bit of the Nico. Maybe picks up the Tristana, but I'm not quite sure we're going to see that ADC mid here at all.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely started to see more of the kind of marksman mid laners come in. I mean, obviously Kai'Sa at the minute is a champion that I think we've spoken about like at most weeks at this point because she's just so disgusting right now. She can be played obviously in bot and in mid with a variety of builds. So that will be super interesting to see. I'm also quite interested in seeing what the Woof and Sniff gang have got cooking as well, because we saw in the last game, look at their comp. They had the Lydia there in the jungle on Squiggly, so ZV was playing the Malzahar, we had Nara in the top lane, we had the Zyra Khan bot lane. So this is a fairly simply structured comp, I think. There's nothing like super surprising coming out of the comp that they played last game. But we could see some really interesting picks come out of them as well. I think we've seen, obviously you were talking about the Vel'Koz in the mid lane there. We've got some Taric on Solo Super's side. We've got obviously the Vex, Yari, the Aurelion Soul, so Lele's Kitten. Very, very traditional picks, I think. But obviously when you start pairing it up with some different champs that we perhaps aren't used to seeing, then the actual composition itself becomes a lot more interesting, despite obviously having those sort of one or two champions that we've perhaps seen fairly often over the last, I say a few weeks, but it's probably a few months at this point with Ariani and everything else.
100%. I feel like we've gone away from things like we know, like you look at different seasons and you can look at pro play, look at any other skirmishes and mini tournaments, and you go, right, it's probably going to be the Zeri Lulu, it's probably going to be the Lucian Nami, then you're probably going to have the Azir or the Lissandra mid. Like, there's a lot of picks like that, and I think with Woof and Sniff coming in, it's a team we don't really know, which I really enjoy about these skirmishes. We just don't know anything about them. Looking at the OPGG, there's nothing really there to support it. We know there's 3 mid laners. Their jungler is got nothing, was plat in 2021. 2023 was gold, so still kind of up there. But I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. Now, one thing I was going to say is the fact that this is not, they're pre-made 5v5. So normally we get people put together. We, Matt and Lloyd work really hard during the day to make sure they try and even it up a little bit. These are now just anyone and everyone can join. So the fact that we have a brand new team, names we do not know in our Discord server, is amazing to see new people come in daily. I'm super excited to see what they bring to the table.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute banger. I'm sure of it. It's got all the makings of one of the great TGH skirmish games. And yeah, this as you sort of said, with these new teams coming in, the new players coming in, it's always really good to see some fresh blood in the server, generate some new storylines for these skirmishes. It's just a very exciting time to be part of the TGH League section.
Yeah, I think Prod's going to let me know when we're ready to go in Champion Select news at Agent Select again then. Why have I got Valorant in my head today? I do not know. Oh.
Wow.
Okay, so Riot, small indie company. We managed to somehow pick a jungler twice. Somehow, I don't know how that's managed, but surely if you saw it one side, you're not going to pick it the other. Like if you saw I'm not going to try and say the jungle pick because I don't want to give it away. But if we saw the jungle pick on one side, why would you still try and pick it on the other side? I don't understand. But anyway, they're redoing it. We're trying to have a look at this here. So where's the story going to be? I think most games, so this season we've seen the bot lane really come into it. Okay, junglers really just not caring about their top side of the map and making sure that their bot side is the ones that are feeding. Once that first couple of tier 1 towers are down, bot lane then go mid. Is that something we're looking to see still today? Is it something that you've kind of seen looking around currently? In my ranked games as a jungler myself, unfortunately my bot lane's giga losing before I even get there, but I've been then playing through those winning lanes. But with skirmishes like this, you can't do that massively.
Yeah, so I feel like, I mean, on the side of Toontown Enjoyers, I definitely feel like what we've seen before from the likes of Milk. Milk is someone who traditionally loves to just push wave, roam, go bot, coordinate with the jungler, pick up kills left, right, and center. Milk just like the amount of times that I've actually seen Milk in lane versus Milk out of lane, like the latter is just so much more. He is never in lane unless he really has to be. And yeah, I do feel like we're at this point with League at the minute where, as you said, bot lane, hey, it's two kills and an early Drake. If you make the play well enough, early enough, you hit it hard bot early, you get those kills, you get the gold in your back pockets, whether it goes into the jungler, into your mid laner who roams down. But the focus in the early game will always, I feel, as League is in its current state as a whole, be focused on that bot side of the map and working with that, especially when you do end up playing champions like the Zeri, champions that like really need to scale into the game, because obviously the last thing you want to do is go top, go to a low impact lane, put loads of eggs into that basket, and then your late game your late game hyper carry is like 0-3 in lane because they've been ganked 20 times. So it's more a matter of necessity as well. Just really depends on meta, depends on the game state as a whole. But yes, I completely agree that right now I can see, regardless of whether it's Toontown Enjoyers, whether it's Riff and Sniff, I think that we are definitely going to see lots of emphasis put towards this bot side of the map, especially seeing as Lily's Kitten was put on the Gnar last game, right? Gnar is fairly self-sufficient in the top lane, just traditionally a very good blind pick into most matchups. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a bot lane fiesta. by 5 minutes, and I'm really excited to see how it goes.
With the fact that we can't see much of Woof, how are you thinking right now that Toontown Enjoyers are going to get into it, as the music's getting really intense?
The music is popping. Oh my god.
I feel motivated as hell right now. Are we going into Champ Select any second right now? Because this is insane. But with Toontown Enjoyers now, I feel like I need to do a Rocky speech with this music in the background. It's just like...
It's about drive,
anyway.
It's about power. We stay here we go.
Oh, here we go. We are in it.
Okay. It is time.
So, what I was going to say, the banning phase is going to be really difficult because we can't see much on Woof and Sniff. So, are you just going to ban your counters? Is that kind of what you're thinking? As unfortunately, I can't see the... There we go. So, Mouse, Annie, Ash. Okay, so they're pretty standard picks. Zaya, Kindred, J4. Pretty strong picks no matter who you're playing against. So, that's kind of what I was going to say. So, first pick here, Aaron, what would you prioritize?
Well, I mean... yeah, I think that answers it for me. Kaiser, priority is really, really high. They saw that they obviously kept the Zeri open. They know that Lloyd is going to go on Zeri in the bot lane with the blue loom they're matching. We're going to expect then the support to come in. Yep, there's the Rel, and then maybe the jungler at this point, maybe a solo laner, which I'm sure that Toontown Enjoyers will then match on the other side. There comes the Talon. Talon is a champion that we haven't really spoken about, but in the mid lane right now, he is so strong.
Yeah,
so,
and then
so strong.
This is kind of the regular, right? ADC support mid. This is kind of what you pick up. But Kaiser and Rel, is it going mid? Is it going bot? Is Rel going jungle? Is Rel going support? So with the bans here, the Nars you saw in the last game, as Leather's Kittens was on it, you know, Mordecai's now being banned. That's a bit of a... I don't think I've seen in Jalmate, which is Dan, actually on that. I think his pull is huge in that top lane, that I think no matter what, Dan's just going to try and play around the team. You've got stuff like the Olaf he can pull out here. Kane for a minor fat. Yeah, Connor going on the Kane here. Not a bad choice, as long as you can get onto someone. With things like the Kaiser and Talon, though, they get out and get in and get out quite well.
Yeah, so obviously just to confirm earlier, the champion that managed to show up twice was Kane, but we do see it go into Monofat 1. Hey, listen, we're talking about Valorant earlier, Beanie, like, you know, you have Kang in Valorant and you have Kane in TGH Skirmish now, apparently. So that's what we're rolling with. But yes, the Malphite comes in there, just a really solid pick, a rock solid pick even in the top lane. Nice and consistent. No nonsense pick, which obviously you can then work with the dive. You've got the Rel, you've got the Talon, you've got the Malphite. The Aurelion Soul perhaps a little off theme here, but that's absolutely fine. But that does then
Talon jungle
Talon into the jungle.
So
very, very interesting.
I like the fact that the Kane and Talon here, they're not regular pathers, okay? Volibear in the top lane from Dan would be cooking something totally new that I've not actually seen before. But as you see, Pommy is potentially coming in to talk within the finals of us. TTT lack CC, and they really do. You're looking at a team that really want to play kind of front to back here against a team, you know, on the other side who they just want to dive in. You know, you've got the Rel, you've got the ASOL that could just drive by. The Malphite's going to ult in. As soon as you get that, Kaiser's coming in as well. And then you're just going to have this asteroid from outer space just come crashing down in your team. So two very different play styles here as we're going to go into game in a couple of minutes. But what's your first thoughts as you're pondering there on your little chin?
So I am kind of surprised to see that Milk, when he saw the Talon get locked in, he went for something like the Veigar. Obviously, you know, you put baby in the cage and everything's fine. He can't fly around everywhere, which is fine. But at the same time, if he read that as a mid lane pick, then I would have expected him to then try and match the roam. But obviously, Veigar, he's going to be stuck in his lane. Seri Lulu are going to be stuck in their lane. A lot of the emphasis in this early game is going to be on the Kane, getting around the map, getting his clear done quick, and, you know, really impacting those lanes as early as possible. But with that said, I do like the Veigar in the context of, you know, into Woof's sort of comp in general. Obviously, you're trying to dive a Veigar, he just puts the cage around your team, or he puts the cage up to deter the dive. So they have to be quite creative with the angles that they use to get on him. But they have a Talon, so it might be for nothing.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. The jungle tracking is something I've personally been getting a lot better at after watching these skirmishes, watching pro play and stuff. And it's absolutely huge for junglers to keep pinging where their jungler is, or the enemy jungler is, because it helps you with the lane, especially in skirmishes like this. These guys, like I said before, they're pre-made. Their comms are going to be a little bit more tighter, or a lot more tighter than regular games that we normally play, because you get chucked together with people. Pinging where the jungler is a huge thing, but with someone like Talon doing backflips over different pits, and then Kayn obviously flying around the map, it's going to be interesting to see the two paths coming out from that. But one big thing that I want, sorry, I had to get that in there, that's going to come up is the fact that we spoke about Milk roaming a lot, but he's going to be shut down in that mid lane. So how much impact is this Vi going to have? Bearing in mind, him and Ace are pretty much unlimited scaling in terms of their abilities.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, we saw obviously the Zeri come in as well. Zeri being the champion that definitely needs some time to power up. So I'm not too sure how strong the early skirmishing ability of this Toontown comp is going to be. It's going to be certainly an interesting one. I think they're going to have to perhaps just chill and try and feel their way into the game a little bit. Look for a couple of picks here and there, especially when you have the Veigar cage with the Kayn follow up there. But I don't know. If I'm Toontown, I'm not looking to really, you know, try and fight too much between mid and bot early. Perhaps we can start seeing, you know, see the Kayn play around the power of the Volibear. Obviously, Volibear is a very strong champion in the early game traditionally, so we perhaps could see maybe some movement towards top lane. But it's gonna be really interesting, especially considering that Kayn is gonna need to do something to get his form as quickly as possible as we head out onto the Rift.
Yeah, something that, as we were watching Milk stream before in the green room, you know, the Kayn didn't actually have red Kayn until about 18 minutes, which is pretty late, but we don't want early skirmishing, yet the Kayn needs early skirmishing. The Volibear is great, but there's many different builds you can take this Volibear through. We can go tanky, we can go AP heavy. Obviously, Zeri does the magic on hit as well, or the magic damage, so it's definitely going to be something that we're going to look to see, as Lloyd is just going to spot the ward going down. This is pretty standard nature. Ward already on the red buff as well, as Milk goes and wards that for them. But I don't think they see the Talon's ward.
Yeah, I don't think they quite spotted it there. So good little bit of recon potentially. Obviously, we've got as that blue ward does come down. So good info there for the side of Team WNS, as it's been abbreviated to, very helpfully by Prod up in the banner at the top there.
Yeah. Starting blue side here on the Talon, which I'm slightly shocked by, but obviously maybe thinking they're going to be pathing down, as you're going to see maybe a little bit of an early skirmish in the bot side, trying to get some sort of flash, as Dota Enjoy does get the flash used. So they were scrimming in that bush, a little death bush going off, an death bush, and unfortunately the Lulu had to use the flash. So I think pathing this way, I reckon the Talon's going to try and intercept this Kayn. I'm not sure who wins that early. I reckon the Talon probably wins that early.
Yeah, I haven't really seen many Talon versus Kayn matchups, I must say. I definitely would assume at level 2, maybe? At level 2, the Talon might win.
The bleed, I reckon the bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to see. Is that 12? Is that 12? Did he miss it? No. The Volibear is currently fully stacked on those minions as 12 for 12 for the first two waves and keep themselves going. Quite a quick clear here from Connor, which I'm quite... it's really good to see the Talon a little bit slower, which means... do you want to be first this pie, or do you want to be second behind it?
It's a very good question, Beanie. And we just see down in the bottom lane, just the early pressure I think is going to come through here with after the surprise bush gank, using that opportunity to get a little bit of presence. As they're now going to move up into this river, probably try and spot out the Kayn, here. Do we have a ward on the Kai'Sa? We do, yep. And
yes,
that
yeah.
is not looking good, bro.
Oh, no, W over, and first blood goes over to the Kai'Sa. Unfortunately, I don't think Crota in that really, as a ping comes down, and those that know Connor, that's not gonna taste too nice, shall we say.
It's not going to be good for the old mental, I don't think. Yeah, just good early rotation from the bot lane of Team Wolf. Just shoving it in, just getting into the jungle, and yeah, just good timing. They obviously had the early info on the Kayn, was able to track him all the way down, and Milkyard has already had enough, apparently.
Yep, Milk's had enough. Just DC. Network crash apparently doesn't happen in these TFT games, but never mind. We won't say anything more. Yeah, quite a nice early roam up there. I think maybe a little bit of some flustering from Lloyd and Dota in the bot side, kind of wondering, where they're going to go. Scuttle Crab's up very soon, maybe just warding it. They still had about 60 seconds on Scuttle Crab. Well, maybe about 40 seconds or so. So there was quite a lot of time until that Scuttle Crab came up. So maybe Crow could have came over, warded exactly where you can see in that bottom side there, that red ward that popped up. Obviously, Kane's now going to go up back to their level 2 Krugs and get a little bit more XP. The Talon here now obviously looking to push in that mid lane, as the fact that Aurelion Soul has already disappeared. Maybe was trying to actually gank, as Milk is down to, a quarter of health missing. This top lane, I think, is going to be the biggest one. As we said, Malphite doesn't do greatly into the top lane early on. It's going to get a little bit behind. Do you think this Volibear can get that far ahead, though, that can really make the difference if something like the Talon or the Kai'Sa can get ahead?
I think it's all going to depend on how well Daniel times his TPs and how well he is able to roam. Because I mean, if you give up too much pressure, too much tempo up in your lane, and obviously that then invites the Malphite back in. So you just need to really pick your battles carefully when you're playing in the top side. And this bot lane situ is obviously really, really scary, because we see obviously the Zeri has the Cull, so although the Kai'Sa does have the kill, that gold will sort of be equalized later. But obviously as a Zeri into a Kai'Sa, you need to be really, really careful. We see the Kayn has lost so much tempo from that early death, so now it'll be interesting to see where this Talon goes and if they're able to maybe go for a little invade now that they have the Dirk.
Yeah, nearly on the minute farming here from Daniel. It's actually really cool to see. You see how much that full mana bar is. So you're going to get a bit of an early trade, but Malphite does so much damage. Where's that mana coming from as well? Is maybe a pot has been burned, a biscuit definitely has been eaten. And CTM Daniel is in Jalmate is trying to get in, but who is here? And this is what the issue with the Talon. Just sneaky. He's going to flash in, gets that kill, but for what? Is the Talon going to be able to kill down the bear?
Quickly, these minions. Look at the damage that's coming out from the minions. Oh, Daniel, you just need to chill, brother. Good flash. Good kill secure there from Squiggly. Little bit disrespect, I think, from Daniel. I think he could have backed out a little bit sooner. I think he was definitely feeling it after he secured the solo bolo. But well played from the Talon. Now snowballing a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, the early sheen coming out. Malphite's not really got many items. TP going to be used. Not TP going to be used from Daniel as the wave is pushed in. This is the issue, and this is the thing that I think a lot of teams, especially in sort of lower elo, don't know how to play against a Kayn. It's the fact that ward is still there, or that may be a fresh ward. There we go. You see the ping coming out on the map. Kayns are always going to go into that corner and just eat themselves through the wall and try and glide through. One thing we haven't asked, though, what Kayn would you like to see?
Oh, I mean, in this game, I mean, you have good options to go with either. I think traditionally, I don't know if Red Kayn is still better than Blue Kayn, like the backbow. But to be honest, I mean, you can either play Red, obviously with the Malphite and the rail there. You can play to assassinate. You might have to try and go for the assassin to kind of match the Talon's pressure on your squishies. But realistically, you're not assassinating an Azor.
No, is the ultimate's going to come out and there's going to be one kill down. The Talon was pathing incredibly well. He's just going to backflip over this wall. Dan doesn't have the flash to follow. Level 6 level up was perfect timing there for the Volibear to make sure that it got the passive fully stacked up. with the W's and Q's, and then literally just ulting onto the Malphite, securing a kill. And the Talon, I thought the bear was going to go down, but this is what I said in the early game. What can the Kayn do that Talon can do in terms of pathing? You saw them go through the mid lane, path all the way through the red, the top side of the red side of TTE, as an early Drake now being used. But Talon is just going to backflip himself way into lane.
Yeah, it was really, really nice work again from Daniel there. Incredibly handsome play from the young top lane prodigy there, just to secure the kill. He is very, very strong right now. Obviously, we were talking a little bit at the start about the power of this Bully Bear, and it's early in the second play here.
An early smite got used from Minor Fat just to try and get it down quicker, and don't have the prio actually at all, and down to 800 HP. This is going to be... He did slay it again, just missed out, and it's going to go down, and that goes over to the ASO in the mid lane, helping through the sacks. No prio in the bot lane. That was a little bit of a risky move there from the Kayn.
It was looking kind of good for Fat Rat for a moment there. The bot lane did temporarily have the prio, but then they kind of conceded the pressure, and then yeah, it just a little bit not good. Just took a little bit too long for the Kayn to secure the Drake, and yeah, by the time that the rest of the team were in the position to move, the prio had already been lost.
This is, I think. Go on.
Look at this Talon. Look at the Talon. Here he comes.
Oh, coming out, but the tower is going to see them, but unfortunately the Lulu, so squishy, is just going to go down. And this, again, the tempo that currently this Talon has, even though a little bit of a foul gank in that top side, Daniel's nearly double ahead in CS, obviously well up on that gold. Rift Herald is probably going to be your best bet now for this Kayn to try and get some gold, maybe in the pocket of your mid laner, maybe to get the ASO out, but then do you want an ASO roaming? It's not going to be the best. This is a really good roaming comp, I think, on the side of Team WNS, and the Zeri really has to get something going. I think the Talon's such a good pick.
Yeah, the Talon was a really, really great pick. I think it's really, really smart to obviously play with these kind of dive-oriented comps, especially when you know that you're wanting to drive something like the Malphite and Reld, because that's enough tankiness there, right? You don't need that. You've got plenty of AP damage in form of ASO, and in the Kai'Sa innately as well. She's always going to be looking to get some AP, especially with the Shiv build. So yeah, just really good tech, smart pick.
And here we go. I don't think any pings coming out on the map as the ult coming through. Dota Enjoyer getting the Lulu ult down as Lloyd is going to try and get through here. But the ace ult coming in, and the ult comes down as well. It's just going to collect that Stardust. Maybe make it 2 as another W comes in. The drive-by. Double kill being secured. We did just say about the ace ult just coming down, and it happened.
Well, I said go on Zeri, but Zeri's gone. She's dead. She ain't going back. Yeah, as you just said. Oh wait, never mind. Daniel.
Oh, the flash nearly predicting, and the ult being used, but the flip's just such a slippery champion.
Parkour.
Oh,
the
Malphite ult.
The ship come down. It does come down in time, but it looks like Fat's going to get out of dodge as the volley bear does go down. Great play from Ellie's getting them, and this is, I mean, nice catch, Observer on the quick switch as the Veigar Q just by the tail, a tail hair of Aurelion Soul manages to sidestep that one.
A lot going on.
By Richard Trader Thought. Oh, by Richard Trader Thought. We're coming back. So obviously we were talking a little bit about the top lane matchup, and the thing with the Malphite is that it doesn't necessarily matter if the Malphite is... Oh, God.
Oh, no, Connor. Another W coming in. The ultimate coming out from this.
Again. It's happened again.
This ward is constantly there. I feel like a pink needs to be purchased by Connor here on this Kayn. Minor Fat needs that pink ward, needs to get it out there. Brad, if you're in the chat, I know you were. I know it's always screaming at his team to buy more pink wards. I am constantly buying one every time I go back, just in case these happen. Stack Shiv now finished on that Kai'Sa. But as you were saying before anything else, wait, Talon is now trying to take Grom. Maybe not a diveable here. We have the ultimate on the rail coming in now.
Talon doesn't want any of this smoke right now, although the wave is pushing. The Talon can dive this. but chooses not to.
No,
A
I think-
momentary reprieve for this bot lane. I do just want to say, I think Connor actually died to Rift Herald because Connor has Rift in an inventory, so he's unable to sweep, so wouldn't have been able to sweep the board. So technically, Shelly killed Connor.
I think pinks are only 75 though. Pinks
so,
are quite
75.
important, especially on jungle. I think pinks are obviously quite important. You should generally have the second highest board score within the game, alongside maybe your mid laner, hopefully spamming out. But Drake's coming up in about 60 seconds as we see Milk is looking to try and trade with this dragon. Gonna get the ult out, the ult coming out through the... Oh, it's so close, but the Talon was there to clean up just in case, but where was... What happened to ASO? Did he just get a shield from something? I think the ult was maybe too big, the flash not there on Milk, as we see the grey screen now coming out. They're looking and pinging for this volley bear. They're not even worried about Drake.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Again, it kind of goes back to what we were sort of saying at the start of the game about how this Toontown team needs to kind of just chill and not look to, not look to obviously die too much, but obviously not look to too many crazy things. However, Daniel is not going for a crazy thing right now because he is very strong.
Yeah, the ultimate I can fully understand. Maybe not knowing the flash timer. Maybe a little bit there. Just going to try and push in. The ASO is going to TP up here, though, and I think Dan's going to have a little bit of a party as the ult is already down, which means his tower is constantly going to be pinging. And here comes more stacks for this demigod. Great little play there. Flash, TP being used. Drake is now just covered by this bot lane. When your bot lane's winning like this, you know Drakes are pretty much never going to be taken because they can't really come in, and nothing for Connor to come in at. 40 CS now behind, and this roam is really helping nullify that top lane, which I think was the saving grace for Team Toon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this movement here from CV on this ASO was really smart. The TP used. Thank you. Here comes. Wow, we've got replays this week. This is sick. Okay, so yeah, so we see the sort of 1v1 here. We don't have sound on the replay though, I must say, but that's fine. We can work with that prod. Yeah, just it still gets hit by pretty much everything from the Veigar. I think one Q gets missed initially, goes into the wave. Nice ASO. Oh, the airborne comes in, and the CBC at the end. The Veigar does get picked up. Really close 1v1 back in that instant.
Yeah, I think it was the, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it for most people if they know, the fact that when ASO starts stacking things around the champion, you'll see it kind of acts as a collector when they've collected enough Stardust. And I'm not going to lie, at 5-0 and 138, I reckon it could very much be around there. And unfortunately, Milk on the little Yordle has just gone down a bit. So Ward spotting out this Kane in the top side. Getting a little bit brazen here. This is where Milk's coming in, but going to dash away from the ASO. Dan's up for a bit of a scuffle, though. He wants to try and shut this down. Flash, Q, forward. Gets the stun in. Shutdown goes over to Milkyard. Can they do anything more as the Talon is kind of just around? Going to ult through. Everfrost's going to sell. Someone's become unstoppable in the fact that Injalmate has gone down. Milkyard maybe going to go down as well as a double kill comes from the Talon. Does go invisible with the ultimate and somehow didn't die.
Yeah, I mean, just not enough burst. Unfortunately, the flash does come in from the volley bear. The flash stun comes in, but it's just not enough to kill everyone. A really good first pick. However, once everything had kind of been used, the Veigar ult had been committed, the volley bear combo had been committed. They just had nothing left in the tank and weren't able to then fight out the rest of the skirmish there.
So a lot being taken from that mid tower now going to go down, helping with that extra pressure. But yeah, so we're going to see, I think this is a fight from earlier. You're going to see the TP maybe coming in just a second. So the flash was lovely to get out of that. And straight away, ASO's coming up through tier 3 tower. Go, you know what? Hang on, there's a ward here. Talon's already there. We're going to back up. They're going to go onto the tower. But the fact that Volley Bear wasted the ult in a sense just made this easy pickup for the ASO. But going back, Baron is now, second Shelly is now like about 3 minutes until Baron roughly.
Honestly, Beanie, I am not surprised you think there's Baron up, considering what the current state of the game is, how accelerated Team Wolf currently is. But they are going to obviously pick up this this second Herald here, and probably just snowball the game even more because I mean they're just chilling right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know we had a bit of an issue with gold, but you can see at the top there roughly, you know, nearly 10k ahead as Milk's just going to get spotted out. Can Miner do anything? I think it's just going to respect the fact that Talon is level 12 and Kane is level 9.
Kane doesn't even have form yet.
Yeah. This was an issue, obviously, we had, and the Talon looking to go in, but the Volibear's going to get on all fours and try and run away. Oh, nearly getting into the tower range. Does get into tower range, misses the Q, obviously, because it's already been used. It's going to go down. A big shutdown gold over to the Volibear with Hullbreaker here, as the Kaiser has upgraded themselves.
Yeah, $700 dingo dollars go over to the bear. However, it's rough. I mean, the Hullbreaker does come in. So we are going to obviously see Daniel try to create some split push pressure to allow his team to actually farm up and get back into this game. But right now, it's looking really doomed for the side of Team Toontown.
Just trying to think where they can get it back from. Obviously, this Vega is constantly scaling, but Zeri needs a lot of time to get on board. The issue is, though, the team comps, I think, right? We kind of said this at the start. You're looking at Team TT trying to play front to back, and they nearly did it in that sort of bot on the top side where Talon is right now on your map a while ago, but they didn't have the ADC. It's pretty much all in on this on Lloyd here as Minefact's trying to get something. TP now going to come in from the Vigo's just going to leave the ASOL in the mid lane, but they're all got out of dodge already, and it's pretty much a wasted. But they're looking to come in here as a 5, as the ASOL is now coming up from behind. A great E there in the ult coming in. Minefact's now trapped in there as well. Just going to get Dragon Breath through as Lloyd looking to try and get something back here as the flash E comes through, but I don't think this is going to be too much. Oh,
great
flashes the ult, but the E is already down from this ASOL. Way too fair. Tower is not going to do any work for you, and Shelly is going to start coming down to that tier 2 tower.
Wow, what a re-engage there from the side of Team Wolf. They kind of got prodded out a little bit by Toontown when the TP came in, but they recognized that where the funnels were, they recognized where they could fight, and then executed, pick up two picks there, and just beautiful, really beautiful play.
Now, see, Daniel wasn't in that fight on this Volibear, so getting that Hullbreaker to actually work, which is fantastic, but so much lost with Drake now up. The pressure really is on. This is going to be Soul, Point, and Mountain. I think no, Cloud. So Cloud's okay. Cloud's not the worst. If it was Mountain, I think it's pretty much doomed for TTE. As you get over Malphite and ASOL, you know, getting that little bit of tankiness is just easy for them. But Cloud Soul, it's not all over here, but I think is it like the oh no. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. The ult coming out as well from Rel, solo super, and Xena is just going to take that away. There's just something. Oh, the cleanse being used. So close. There's just something about Kane and Gromp. He just not allowed it.
It's just, I feel like Connor just needs to put like a big, like, you know, like the caution tape. He needs to just wrap that all the way around this Gromp and just remind himself, you know what? If I go here, I die. If I look at the Gromp, I die. If I contemplate the existence of the Gromp, I will die.
I feel like there's going to be a Discord name change as we keep doing that. Is no Gromp for me. I think that's a name change really suited for Connor right now. But this Malphite is doing a lot of damage now coming back. Obviously, he had a really rough early laning phase, but the power of this Malphite, lovely heal coming in, but there's the ASOL drive-by just going to come in. Misses a little bit there as Daniel's going to keep coming up. Does get the ult, misses out the way of this ASOL's ult, but it's going to burn down. Is the shield going to be enough to make sure? Yes, rip there. Another shutdown there. The Volibear is so strong and allowing enough time for hopefully Milk to come in, but nope. Squiggy. See if Milk can just get the ult off, and I think the Talon is actually going to die. More money over to Milkyard, and maybe you take the enemy Gromp rather than your own. Is that the tech?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if your Gromp is actually a sleeper agent sent by the FBI to prey on your downfall, then you just go kill the other Gromp, right? I think you're absolutely right there, Beanie. Look, here we go. Oh, wait, never mind.
Oh,
Wait.
straight into the ult at the same time, Connor, unfortunately, and in comes the Kai'Sa. If you know a rail's going to be there, and Kai'Sa actually ults forward here. Does flash being used as well? Who used the flash? I heard it. The Kai'Sa used flash and gets the double kill. If you know support's there, the Kai'Sa's probably around at the same time, and maybe a little bit of greed coming out from the side of TTE.
I mean, can we just talk about the fact that Connor died killing the other Grump as well?
No.
The Grumps on both sides are just harbingers of doom for Connor at this point. He can't get anywhere near them. He starts them, Kai'Sa's there, kills him, but is now turning the attention to the Baron, which will very, very shortly go down for the side of Team Wolf. But I think all eyes are going to be on this next Drake. We do have the Cloud Soul coming up, which for a comp like Team Wolf's is really scary. They're already a hyper-mobile comp. And obviously you do see, aside from the sort of Veigar cage, the volley Q, and the polymorph on the Lulu, there is just such little consistent CC on this TTE team, and I think they're just going to get run over.
Yeah, I think the big meteorite from space is already ready as well. As look at the backflips coming out. The Everfrost not really going to do too much, and Milk's just going to get two-shot here. Going to flash forward and going to look for the Kayn as well. Kayn gets a little bit of hell from Gore Drinker, but has to run away through the wall. 211 farm on this Talon to 98 for the Kayn. I feel Connor's going to uninstall League after this game.
I think this could be the start of Connor's Joker arc, but it's fine. It's fine, Connor. You did your best, buddy. You just got gromped, and that was absolutely fine.
Got Gromped is there's so many good names coming out right now. I think Get Gromped is a team name next week. Me and Aaron have already decided. That's it. Lloyd, if you're listening to this, or you might not want to watch this back, but you will now hear this as 10k gold lead. It doesn't seem weirdly enough, it doesn't seem that much. I know it's 10k, but it feels like it's a lot more than that, right?
Yeah, I mean I just feel like we're at this point in the game where just the gold lead just doesn't matter. It could be 200k gold difference. It just doesn't. The difference in strength between these two teams is just astronomical. The Veigar is slowly getting there. 2 items now. The Death Cap not in yet. The Seri has 2 items while the Kai'Sa has 3. It's just really doomed. And it has been for a while, but it's nice to see that, Toontown have been able to make some proactive plays here and there. They've been able to get those picks, but ultimately I just don't think it's going to be enough.
And this is incredibly clean. Just looking at where the minion waves are, they're playing this so well, Team WNS. Normally you see 1 or 2 minion waves coming in, but all 3 lanes are pretty much, as you're going to see Milkyard just go down. Maybe a little bit of a waste on ult, but does get a lot into their base. The CTM in Jao is looking to go down, tries to get 1 before they go away. Potentially gets 2 down before they go away. The Zeri is trying to pick and clean, but doesn't get 1, and this could be the end of the game now as the ace comes in. 25 minutes. Kai'Sa looking to get another tower just to add to the stats, but with Baron minions, 3 lots coming in as well. This is pretty much GG.
Yeah, and fantastic work from Team Wolf. Just playing to their comp really, really well. Had really good. I mean, their comp itself was just really well crafted, and yeah, it's just GG's to them as the Nexus falls.
Just incredibly clean. We said it before, these guys have not been put together. They are their own team, and to be fair, the comms and the plays coming out, the team comp style, even the bait in the draft with the Talon pick, I think, to potentially go into the mid lane, we even fell for it at the same time. They just seem so clean, and whoever they're going against next, we'll find out very soon. They've got to really make sure they're playing their part, because we didn't know anything about this team, and they've just pulled out a comp you probably wouldn't see that often. The ASOL mid, you'll see the Rel Kai'Sa. Talon jungle is something I don't think I've seen since season 11, maybe 10, especially often. So, before we go into some sort of analysing, what was your first kind of thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think I just want to come back to the actual general comp. I just want to come back to the general composition here from the side of Team Wolf. I feel like they drafted a really cohesive theme and identity for their comp. I think these early invades, the way that their bot lane was able to really just to make use of their early prio, get in and take advantage of the Kane early while he was still weak, was really, really smart. Obviously, we see there that some unfortunate plays. Obviously, from Milk doesn't quite get the kill onto the ASOL. Really nice assassination there from the Talon, which doesn't really matter so much that they died because I mean the game was doomed by that point. But yeah, just compositionally, I just feel like Team Wolf had such a major edge, and I definitely think obviously when those when the Cloud Drake came along, that benefited them even more.
Yeah, these like playing so well. The fact that I think if that bomb plant, they got the vision just that little bit quicker. The Kane just hitting it rather than the Viger. They may have had enough time to back away. Lovely flash there by Lloyd. He's going to say how much he flashed away from that Malphite, but staying a little bit late here. Oh, Connor and the Gromp part 2. Perfect timing there. I think it's one of those games, I think, for Connor where just nothing went right, and it's not that it was his wrongdoing. It was just the fact that it's just one of those games where nothing you can try and do goes right. We all had them in any game we kind of play. It constantly happens. So this fight here really kind of sealed the deal on Team WNS. The Volibear was such a strong pick, and actually a really good pick, I think. Gets 2 down, just about dies here because the static Shiv from the Kai'Sa coming out as well. And I just want to say great production. It just gets a bit better and better and better. Can we see who we are against in the final just yet? And I think we may have a special guest. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to have time for a special guest to come on with us. So it's not really going to be Aaron's stats corner too much. It may be a special guest's corner coming through. But have we got? So we've got Toontown, and we still have Weeband Fiddle. I think is Weeband Fiddle potentially against Wolf, because I think Baguette's lost early on. So Weeband Fiddle against Wolf and Sniff in the final. Don't hold me on that. That's just literally what I'm seeing from the VCs right now. But we'll be back in just a second. Go grab yourself a Rebel. Go grab yourself a drink, because if anything's going to go ahead, this final is going to be an absolute banger.
Looking forward to it.
I try to know better, to know it's worse. I swear I'm cursed, 'cause I know you're bad for me, but it makes no difference. I can't stop it, it's ugly, but honest. Got me tripping for the way you say my name, say my name, say my name. Wrong can still be right. People wanna tell me all the time, but someday my prince will come. But if this ain't love, then I don't want it. I can only see with you. Better with another, but I always pick you. Calling back down the ways you drive me so insane. But when you call, I still fall back into your game. No, wrong can still be right. People wanna tell me all the time, but someday my prince will come. But if this ain't love, then I don't want it.
Regain my senses, had enough, I'm getting out of here. I make my way back wearing nothing but my underwear. Paid my dues, blacking out, can feel my face again. Yet I'm back for more because you know I can't abstain. I'm still alive. It's a hell of a feeling though. We're out of time. Prepare yourself for what's to come.
When your heart is raised to raise at the speed of light. When your heart is raised at the speed of light. Yeah, I'll keep you safe. Yeah, I'll keep you safe. I'll never let you go. When your heart is raised to raise it at the speed of light. And you feel like you got nowhere else to go. When your heart is raised to raise at the speed of light. When your heart is raised at the speed of light. When your heart is raised to raise at the speed of light. When your heart is raised at the speed of light.
I'll keep you safe. I'll keep you safe. I'll never let you go. When your heart is raised to raise it, and you feel like you got nowhere else to go.
When your heart is raised to raise at the speed of light. When your heart is raised at the speed of light. When your heart is raised to raise you've been using me. Feels like you've been using me. You're quite the marksman, ain't ya? I think my heart's in danger. Made me feel like I was safe and sound, then switched up and switched off the safety. How you play me?
Welcome back. We've had our Red Bull. We've got ourselves back. That was, I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry, guys. That was a bit of a stomping we just saw. A very clinical stomping, not just something that, and I think it was, as we kind of said from draft, was a little bit there. Now, they just got outplayed. And this kind of happens in ranked games, unfortunately, with it's your own team. You don't just get flamed at saying, oh, you're rubbish, you're rubbish, rubbish. You generally just sit there and know that stuff happens. It went bad. We got outplayed. GG, go next.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, as you sort of said, and as we sort of touched on before the break, the draft gap was monumental. I think is the most polite way I can put it. I think that again, the team identity, the comp identity was really, really strong on the side of Team Wolf, and this is something which I'm expecting to see coming into this final game from them. They clearly know how to draft properly. They clearly know how to play around their win conditions. So I'm really excited to see if they can then take this momentum, take this knowledge, and then transition it into the fattest of dubs. But
yeah, and wait, what?
After you, Beanie. I was just going to say.
No. What? Yeah, I didn't hear what Jay said. I didn't actually hear what he kind of said.
I was just going to say, and we're going to learn a little bit more about this next game as we head into our stats section with a very special guest.
Pommy!
We
actually duked it. It said with Aaron, but this time it's with Pommy. Oh, I can hear him, but unfortunately I don't think you guys can in the vMix. So we're just going to get the mic selected just now. But yes, Pommy. So Pommy is a little bit of background. He's one of our sort of goats, I would say, inside our Discord. So he's been around for a very long time. He was one of our highest ranked players. Now a few of them are now coming through the scene as well. Coaches a few people through, and the first thing I want to ask actually is we saw one of your B team players, shall we say, in the last game. How do you think it went for them? I'm just going to put him straight on the spot.
Yeah. Hopefully you can hear me now anyway, and we sorted out that. Yeah, I mean, I think the previous game, I think the biggest problem there was the lack of CC definitely on the Toontown side. I mean, they had Volibear very strong in the solo lane. It was obviously deal with the Malphite, but then you have later on when it gets to the team fights, you've got Malphite engaging, Aurelion Soul engaging. You know, you've got too many things just jumping onto Zeri, Lulu, Veigar. They have no way of disengaging unless Veigar gets the E down early enough, which is, predicting a Malphite ult basically. So yeah, I mean, I think that was the biggest thing. But yeah, I think Dan had a good performance top. Yeah, just a bit of a comp diff really. Yeah.
Contract still signed and very much not torn away. I know you can see the document that Aaron provides us each and every week. So we have, and the two teams who have obviously we just saw Wolf and Sniff go through into the final. We now have Weeban Fiddle No, I'm not saying the rest of the name. I apologize to that team. It's not happening. I'm not getting fined. It's not happening. It's not going on. But we see, obviously, Kebab there. Me and Aaron spoke about it prior. The Aatrox right now, after the recent buffs coming through, seems to be a huge pick. And do you think it's going to be literally a ban straight away, Pommy?
Yeah, I mean, the amount that he's been playing it and the fact that it's been buffed, it's a really, really strong champ right now. He can take over a game if he gets ahead. So, yeah, I think it's just got to be a straight ban. You don't want to let him even get that blind, to be honest. So, yeah, I think straight ban should be good.
And then, obviously, we can't actually see too much from Wolf. So, the Malphite ban, if you were looking at a team, obviously, we know you scrim, etc. Do you find much out about your team prior? If you don't find much, do you just ban champions that you know may be good against yourself? Or things, obviously, if you're banning the Aatrox, what's their second pick going to be? We see a Cassante. Do you try and ban that out, or do you try and play into your own strengths instead?
I mean, I think if you're planning on picking the Aatrox, most of those sorts of like tanky matchups, absolutely fine. So unless he's got something in his pocket that can deal with it, like Fiora or Olaf is generally quite good into Aatrox. Then yeah, I don't see any purpose in banning it. Get your comfort pick, and then try and focus on to maybe some of the weaker side for them, like getting people off their comfort picks as well. We can see there's a lot of Vexes and Malphites and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I think Malphite is not ban worthy for them, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, we saw the Malphite go quite well. Obviously, a great flash, obviously, by Lloyd to miss out the ultimate. The ultimate is quite a key point. Do you think something along those lines, Aaron, I'll go to you for this one. With looking at the stats on Weban Fiddle, what kind of team comp? They must have seen the last game. I think they finished a little bit earlier. If they watched any of the VOD, anything of the stream that we're just doing right now, what was your first go-to mind to go against that kind of comp?
I mean, looking at what Rebound Fiddle have played, I mean, it's clear that their top laner, Kebab in particular, he obviously loves that. He loves the Aatrox, which we've spoken about. The Renekton there is also just a really kind of jack of all tradesy, very self-sufficient pick. It's really interesting. I mean, you look at that bot lane. They've played the Xayah Nami lane. They've played the Kai'Sa Nautilus lane. They seem to be a team that can play a few different styles. I mean, you see the Ari Wukong 1-2 in that first game, and then between the mid jungle and the second, what do we have here? You have Wukong Veigar. So it's interesting to see what kind of answer we are going to get. I think that sort of those more skirmish heavy mid jung pairings, I think is going to be something which I think this Fiddle team is going to look towards, and obviously have that self-sufficient top side, and then maybe something that's got a bit of scaling there in the bot lane.
So with that jungle sort of mid matchup, we saw the Aurelion Soul and the Talon just backflipping and flying across everything on the Rift. We saw a Lilia in the first game instead of the Talon, along with a Malzahar. Now, Malzahar doesn't really roam that drastically well. It's a really good push, and then can kind of do that. Who would you look for, Pommy, in that terms of, we've seen a Talon come out, which we don't see. Is there another kind of off-meta, should we say, kind of pick you reckon could come through with that?
What do you mean, into the Talon, sorry, or just in general?
Instead of the Talon. So they had the Lilia in the first game, Talon in the second game. Are they going to pull something out the bag on this third one? Or do you think the enemy team's just going, you know what, fine, we know your tricks, we'll play around it?
Quite possibly. I mean, if there's definitely a lack of CC, I mean, Talon and Fizz, two very good assassins right now that you can pick. Talon, any assassins these days, if they get ahead, they can take over a game. You can just make your AD's life misery, and then we've all been there. Played ADC, you see a 10-0 Fizz, Kiana, whatever on the other side, and then well, I'm not having a game today. But I think picking something like a Malzahar or a Lissandra or something with just point and click CC to just say nope, you can't play the game as soon as they jump in is always a good thing to have in your back pocket. So yeah.
Oh, I just had flashbacks to Aaron a couple of weeks ago with the Garen outplay, just the point and click Q and the point and click R. I just had a little giggle to myself. That's why you can see me laughing on the stream. I don't think we're too far away from the champion select. Now, we said it straight away, Aaron, you did. Don't be too hopeful, apparently. I've just been heard. Maybe 3 Kanes have been picked in this draft instead of 2 like last time. But we look at the prio and we look at the ADC, we look at all the pro plays, obviously Pommy, yourself, and Skirmish. You said it a couple of times. It's normally, support ADC jungle. Is that the kind of thing you're going to see straight away? Obviously, the Talon, I don't know, Pommy, if you thought Talon was going into jungle, I know you were watching. We both thought it was probably going to be a mid Talon, obviously, because that's the normal ranking you get.
Yeah, I mean, Talon is, he could go either way, really. You flex it as to what you need. It's always, when you're drafting, you always want to take flex picks early. That's why things like Tristana and Kai'Sa are so good right now, because they can be played into mid. They have very few counter matchups into bots, maybe like Draven or something is not so good. So yeah, anything flexing is good, but yeah, I mean, I think try and take first pick flex, and then take your ADC jungle or whatever you haven't taken on the next one, so you can counter your solo lanes. It's always the best thing. Yeah.
Obviously, with the shock static Shiv nerfs coming through, the Kai'Sa still being annoying and great with it. The same with Tristana. I feel like the AP ratio has gone down, obviously, for AP casters, but for ADC, it's such a big, potent first item that gives you that push, that gives you that momentum forward, that then allows someone like the Talon jungle to really come through and be that kind of punishing. Now, is that something, Aaron, that you see from this team? Team Wolf, we saw them do that. Are they just going to replicate that again? Do you think that's just their playstyle, or do you think they've got something in their locker?
I mean, let's take a look at back to game one. Obviously, we saw the Malzahar, we saw like Narlilia and stuff. Like they've shown that they can play different styles, but they do like to pick champions that can be really annoying. Obviously, picks like the Rakan, Lilia, things which are quite slippery. Obviously, the second game that we see, they played a very, very mobile comp with really great roaming potential. So, I mean, it's clear that even if they're not necessarily playing to a very set, even if they're not explicitly playing a dive comp, they're still looking to find ways to kind of weasel their way around the map. I say that in the most polite way I possibly can, because it's a good thing, okay? You pop down, you pop up, you kill a couple people, and you're good to go. So that's the kind of vibes that I'm getting from Wolf and Sif in general. And obviously, League of Legends is a game that has a lot of annoying champions. I'm sure you'll both agree very much so.
Yeah.
So I think that there is still more to see yet from this Wolf and Sniff team. I do think that maybe this Talon will get taken off, or simply we will see the side of Team Fiddle actually look to really nullify, maybe bring in some of that sort of happy little point and click CC, etc., etc. Keep it simple. Just get rid of the get rid of some of the roaming, counter it in what ways you can, and just go for the tag.
And with that music coming in, we now know exactly what it is. Pommy is still here in our ears. We may not be able to see him on camera. The beautiful face has disappeared. So first ban coming out now. Is it going to be that Talon? Is it going to be kind of the jungle pick? No, it's going to be the Rel coming in. Now, Pommy, we can still hear you. What is it you would like to see as obviously the Aatrox ban comes in? What are the 3 bans on each side you would like to see?
I think, judging by what's been seen, maybe for the side of we ban Fiddle, they might want to think about obviously taking away the Talon if they're going to have a problem with it. It also might be an idea to take away Lilia. That can be quite potent if she gets ahead, I think. So I'd like to see maybe those two. Echo coming obviously through this time, which is absolutely fine. Another assassin. Cat on the other side. We've only got 1 ban left. Last ban, I mean, I think it's up to them. Maybe we see something like the Rakan coming out, or I think there's a lot of Vayne games as well. It's anything that can 1v9 really and take over, because I know that the bot lane can be very strong for the WeBan Fiddle team.
Yeah, you saw the Rakan Zyre in the first game in time of Wolf, and the Viger ban now coming out, so they may have some tech that we don't really know. We don't really know whether kind of the Kai'Sa, we just said it, Pommy said it straight away, right? The flex pick here. So what flex pick, Aaron, would you put here now then? I
mean, I see. Oh, they've actually opted for the Bron here. They might just take their bot lane on 1-2. I think it's fairly common drafting. I think that we are, although the Kai'Sa is a pick that can be flexed into the mid lane, I think traditionally that we do see it more so in the bot side. So I can still see Team Earth maybe drafting as if it is as in a marksman bot side. We do see the Taric come in, so talking about lockdown, maybe not so much the point and click, but there's some lockdown right there. There's the Tarek, and obviously there's the Zaya, some strong feathers. So they are fully anticipating some dive in some capacity is going to come through. Obviously, I mean, you see the Kaiser picked, you assume that they're going to start drafting towards dive in some capacity.
Yeah, I think we've got Team Wolf on the right-hand side this time. So obviously they're going for the CC, which is we were thinking about going into them. One I was going to say, Pommy, was Milio is still up here. So what jungler would you kind of pair with these guys if you're looking at that kind of range, etc.? Obviously the Milio can do quite a lot of work. Into a Taric though, is it a great pick?
I mean, Taric is one of those champs. Like, he's really, really good once he's got his ult, and if you can get a really good one through. But I think he's a little bit lackluster at the moment. Like, during the lane, he's a little bit too immobile. I find his sustain costs too much mana, so it's going to take quite a while for him to be useful. You know, like level 11 onwards. Milio Kaiser. It's good poke, good sustain in the lane, good with burn damage from Milio, etc. So they've got a good strong bot lane there. Maybe drops off a bit later. So I think definitely favoured on Woof and Sniff's team. Yeah, interesting to see what they match it with.
Ooh, that is interesting. Ooh. Annoying champs, we know. Evelyn, one of the sort of classic season 1, season 2 kind of vibes. Very classic in the sense, but pairing with the Zaya Taric, I think so. I'm kind of fading Team Fiddle right now, or favouring, sorry, as the Syndra ban comes through. So round 2 of bans, you're looking at mid lane and top now, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an odd one. I think it's all I can say so far. I mean, the Kaiser, I mean, the Milio pick, I think they sort of saw, obviously, the Zaya come in. Maybe they moved away from the Nautilus or something that would traditionally pair quite well with Kaiser in terms of the more engage-heavy style of 2v2 that you can play with Kaiser. That's assuming, of course, that Kaiser is going into the bot lane. So that's quite shrewd there. We do see, obviously, the Kasante ban come out, and then, obviously, the Malphite ban too. So we're going to see quite an interesting top lane as well. Very interesting top lane. So there's the Gnar ban as well. So yeah, so Lele's Kitten is going to have to dig a little bit deeper. They are off-rolled into the top lane, or they were off-rolled into the top lane, sorry, earlier. I'm not too sure if they are sticking with their lane designation for this final.
Yeah, because normally on the finals we get rid of lane designation and you can kind of go any way you want, but I think with these teams they're kind of in there as a set. But the Gragas coming out, we have a top lane guru inside with Pommy, so you know, the Ornn into a Gragas is something you kind of see quite often nowadays.
Yeah, Gragas is less. He's fallen out a little bit in the last couple of patches, but Ornn is still like solid A S tier. It's just a free scaling lane. I do like the Gangplank though, because especially if they're going like tank Gragas, it's just going to be free scaling for Gangplank on the other side. Even AP Gragas, it's very difficult for him to burst him down. So it's good scaling. I like that. Also like the Bari here if they do pick that up. Nice safe mid laner. If Eve tries to jump in, they've got an instant, charm onto that person, try and burst her down. So yeah, I think it's a good solid draft if they go with the Ari thus far.
And then into this, you've still got the Lysandra, the Malphazar still up. That point and click kind of CC that you need to try and help the Evelyn then get into lane and get that in. Obviously the Gragas, the Bumba coming in, you got the Taric in the bot lane. The Evelyn's going to need those CC to get in, and a Zed is one I was going to say. When we said about Assassins early on, I've had a couple of Zed games recently, and they just, for some reason, seem to have a ton more damage than they ever have done before. That early item of Eclipse or a Power Spike, is absolutely huge. Now, if you're looking at the other side, though, Team Fiddle, they're not that tanky.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go on, Aaron.
No, after you, Tommy. You are the master Uruguay here. I'll let you lead. You lead.
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting thought, because you're going to have to play with the Taric Wing potentially onto like the Eve, the Gragas, or the Zed. They dash in, and then they get a good stun onto whatever they're going to try and kill. Because if they land a stun with the Taric, it's pretty much guaranteed kill, I think. So they want to play very scrappy on the side of Wolf. Whereas I think
Team Fiddle on the
yeah,
left-hand
I've got to
side.
remember names. Yeah, Fiddle on the left-hand side. They probably want to play a little bit more group. They've got Wukong with Kaiser Siege, Ari picks, maybe Gragas in a side lane just farming up, getting up some solo XP and stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play.
I'm not sure if we can get that champ select back on screen at some point, but I think there's been a little bit of a delay as there's been a bit of a DC issue. So we've got a couple of minutes now to talk through this draft. So the Zed coming out is a really big one. We like the fact that Zed and Eve has now come out. So you've got 2 assassins on that side. The Zed was obviously the last pick coming in. Eve was that 3rd pick before the bans come in. I feel like the Ornn would have still been good, as there is not... You're now relying on this Wukong to really do get that engage. Obviously, the Gangplank ult can come in, get a lot of damage, get a lot of slow-ins. But, you know, there's no real front line here, Aaron, and that's what was the issue. I think last time the Volibear was the only issue, one going into sort of Team Wolf.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think, obviously, we just have to see how it plays out as we get into game here. I mean, I think it's very seldom that I see a double assassin like in a mid junk capacity. I feel like obviously Team Fiddle, I should say, Bad Fiddle. It's because I see WBF in my head. I go, Wolf, huh? Yeah, seeing obviously the Wukong Ari is something much more standard and something which is much more akin to what we perhaps would typically see in pro play, especially over the last several months. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting mid-jung sort of 2v2 from both teams. I think it's going to be a wild one, that's for sure.
I think one for me is the fact that we're going to see a lot of this. Okay, a lot of pings coming out. I think a lot of comms are going to come through with that. The fact that Team Wolf was so clean in the last game, I'm hoping obviously Team WB are going to be in the same boat as well. And we could be on for a very, very high level kind of scrim game here. Pommy, I think you're still around. If you can hear me, if you're still within the VC. Early possession here, you're looking to see both junglers are going to go up towards that top side. Obviously, that 333 sort of ish cleared. The Wukong against Eve on that first Scuttle Crab. Who's going to have that prior if you're looking at a Gangplank Gragas top side?
So I think the prior should be under Gangplank. Gragas, sorry. He's got good wave clear with his barrels. Gangplank, yeah, he's got decent clear. Level 1 barrels don't really do much. And I think 2v2 top side, probably in favour of Eve and Gragas, just because Gragas is so strong. What I would probably expect to see is just a full standard clear to top. Eve will probably go for it. I think she has a slightly faster clear than Wukong. And then, yeah, it should be red side to pick that up.
I think this is going to be the Milio pick into the Taric you see there nice and easily. The fact that if Taric's trying to get that Q, obviously that stun on, it's just going to get a tennis ball to the face and just get pushed away. Hopefully you just get off that off angle. I don't think we're going to see any early ganks here at all, as the Eve has already gone to match the bot side again. This is it. I think we're going to be in for a fantastic game here, guys. The ping's coming out straight away. Oh, a little bit of scrapping going on in the middle, as I see a lot of energy going used on the Zed. Ari's health going down to about halfway. No flash, no ignite being used just yet. As you're saying, Eve's definitely potentially going to look to get to that red buff very quickly. It's quite an even clear right now, Aaron.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. It's quite nice for us to have like a little moment where we're not like, oh my god, this is happening, and 20 other things are happening. These are kind of early games, that we like to see once in a while, where things are just, no one's solo killed each other like level 2 or something like that. Just a little bit of respect from both sides, just easing their way, feeling their way into this final, and yeah, it's perhaps not going to be as explosive as we perhaps with the first thought.
Not a full clear from the Wukong. That's a great way of trying to get that early tempo, as we're going to see the Gragas come in. The charm is going to land potentially on this Gangplank. Flash coming in from Squiggly. Going to spam out those Qs, but the Wukong is here. Flash is in, but does get the first blood on the Gragas. Now, Brazil, can you get anything there? The monkey can't really do away. A little, Pommy said that needed to get scrappy. That was actually kind of scrappy in general.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I just cast a cursed really badly just there. You know, I was like, yeah, we're chilling right now, and then that sort of happens. But yeah, no, really nice body slam there from the Gragas. The big belly gets in the way, stops the flash engage there from the Wukong, and yeah, like, you know, Wukong now has no flash, with absolutely nothing to show for it.
A little bit scrappy in the bot lane here. Now, I think that was actually kind of smart from the Wukong to maybe not go to Gromp, try and get that early prio in that river. I was going to literally say River Shen, and obviously Pommy being one of the top Shen players around, not even just in the Goose House. Is this something you're going to see quite often from these guys? Obviously coming from sort of scrims, you know, this Scuttle Crab, this river control is huge, and we obviously saw Team Whiff do it so well last time, obviously coming from blue to red, now going from red to blue.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought. I mean, the way that you want to think about where your power spikes are. I think for Wukong, his power spike is, or in comparison to Eve, is definitely earlier on. It's a big chunk there. Ari's going to have to back off that, I think, or level 6 Zed, we might be in for a kill here.
Yeah, definitely.
Flash out there.
Respecting it. Wukong is the other side, but I don't think Wukong can really do anything. This is the power of the Zed, right? The Zed is so strong. The WQ, Electrocute, you know, even getting the E in, it's so potent. It's just bullying off of this Ahri. Obviously, immobile at the moment, stuck on level 5. But you were going to say, obviously, the Wukong looking for the power spike?
Yeah, so Wukong is probably going to be power farming for a little bit, same as Eve. Eve hits her 6, she should just basically be perma-ganking when she's not got any camps up. You look at the state of the waves, bot's probably the best thing to go for. They have not really any real disengage except for the Milio Q, and yeah, I think if Eve can get in there, I think it should be a free kill. If she gets out, if she gets a couple kills, she can snowball the game easily.
Looking to snowball this top lane and get the Gragas down as the charm is going to come in. Just misses, actually. The charm does go, I think, gets oranged away as I think Abab is going to go down to a second kill. This time, Eve sharing it. The Gragas, the fat man, giving it over to the Masquerade killer herself as the Ahri is now looking to come up. A weird little play here. Is the Ahri going to get anything here?
Yeah.
She has to be a bit patient, maybe wait for the Wukong, see if she can get onto this Gragas.
It's a flash on the Gragas there.
Yeah, I think Flash. I think the Flash literally just come back up.
Yeah, no, well, I think he didn't burn it on the first gank, if I remember. So you think he had it all the time. But yeah, I mean, I think the Ahri probably should have committed there. She loses so much. She's down 15 CS now and probably down about half a level, at least, or actually a whole level. If you look at the purple bar under her mana, you can see it's an entire level down in the Z. So it's only going to get worse for her now. I think the only option for her is to potentially try and push the waves and roam. It's a good charm.
I think that was a little bit of a, yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a misclick there from the Z. Fat finger at the W to come back in, wondering whether to get the R in as well. As a stun, the flash coming out as well. The Milio has to then get the healing down, the campfire, the cozy campfire coming in. But look where this Evelyn is, level 6. As you said, Pommy, it's going to have to get something in. The stun goes in, the charm is going to now land. Ult doesn't need to be used or burned just yet, as Wukong is still only level 5. Can't really get any engage on this. The Taric and the Xayah, so much CC potential. Something I said at the start, if there is a CC, the Evelyn can easily get involved.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think for that, they're going to have to give up the Drake now. Wukong's not level 6 yet. He'll probably tick it very soon. But yeah, 3 people there. Definitely a lot of Drake for Team Wolf. So it's a bit rough. I think the Fiddle needed to get ahead in the bot side early. They had a much stronger lane. But we'll see if they can come back from it.
Maybe going for a steal. Doesn't get it, and it's just going to go down as the Z was missing from that mid lane. Aaron, where do we go from here? This is not something we, this is something we saw obviously in the last game. But Team Fiddle, they're going to need to cook something up, and as we heard from Lloyd, the Ahri was potentially going to be picked into this mid laner, and it is in here as Swifts is just getting chunked down from the Z. I think the ult is still available as well, which this Ahri's playing with fire.
Yeah, it was a really, really tough spot. Obviously, as Kwame sort of alluded to, she lost so much earlier trying to make the play on the Gragas on the top side. She burnt her Ignite as well, so that was her her real way to kind of equalize the lane power there. That lost as well, and then obviously the Z goes on.
I think he got charmed under tower there by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like he got charmed under tower.
Yeah,
gotta dodge those. Gotta dodge those.
Every time we get Aaron to say something right now, something else happens. So
I'm Grump. I'm Grump, and everyone's Connor right now. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, but we've seen this obviously from ZV already before this game. Perhaps gets a little bit too hyphy on the W2, or just walking up a little bit too aggressively. They know they're strong. They're feeling it, but sometimes you gotta get off the board, get off the cook a little bit, lest you feed to the Ari the tower.
One thing we haven't seen from Team WNS is the fact that the early sort of gank or the early pro going into the enemy's jungle. Now, is that just a red to blue side thing? As you see the Zed just chasing down this Ari. Ult has been used. W not really ignite back on. The Wukong ults through, flashes over lovely to get straight into the Evelyn, but Evelyn's probably going to ult straight away. Squiggly is on a absolute killing spree, ult back over the wall. Just a straight safety. The Gangplank did try and get something down with the ultimate as well. Quite quick reactions coming in from this Wukong, but Bab can't go backwards because there's a barrel of beer in the way.
Yeah, I mean,
as we were saying,
Squiggly's already so fed. Like, look, she's already got the rocket belt. The Dark Seal has 7 stacks on it. 3-0-2, 84 CS at 10 minutes. Wow, 11 minutes. This Evelyn is on fire right now.
Yeah, as I think the Gangplank may have been in. This is what actually happened. I feel like we're going to see a WR maybe coming in, and the WR coming in. Does get charmed. Lovely outplay by the Ari.
Yeah, really well played by Swifts there. Great charm, and a little bit hypey from ZV, but good outplay nonetheless.
Incredible outplay. Maybe, obviously, some RE players would have tried to charm as the W got reset, and obviously the R coming in, but, very, very well patiently held as Brazil on this Wukong is going to see a TP actually going to come in now with the Z right near the tier 2. They're just going to back away, respect it, and yeah, as you said, Aaron, this Eve is so strong right now.
She's absolutely running this map. We see the Kraken Slayers come in now on the Zaya as well, which is really nice. The Kai'Sa hasn't quite reached that first item yet. Must have been super close in terms of gold. Though it looks like, actually, I think the Zaya had maybe a couple tower plates on that. But yeah, just really nice edges being gained down here in the bot lane, and obviously the rest of the map is quickly spiraling on the side of Team WNS.
Yeah, Charm now going to land on that Milio. We've still got the Rift Herald on the side of Squiggy. Squiggy is absolutely smurfing on this fiddle right now as the Taric wanted the gems, and the gems managed to get the kill in the end. Not for Zaya, and the ADC is actually the Taric now on Solo Super, but holding the Herald here, Pommy, or maybe not?
Nah, they use the Herald here for sure. First Blood Tower, they get the plates. They've only got a minute left on the plates anyway, so it's absolute no-brainer to use the Herald here, I think. Interesting thing that we haven't talked about here is even though maybe the jungle is becoming a little bit of a problem, and mid's more or less okay at the moment. I think it's still okay, but top is getting very, very far ahead. You've got to remember. Yep. Speaking of that, just as a moment as I say that, you've got to. I'm going to be just have a look at this trade that's going on. Just a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Remember, Gangplank gets extra gold every time he kills something. So not only is he 30 CS up and a kill now, he's also getting all the extra gold from his passive as well. So he's
and the pole. I was going to say about the pole as well.
So Gangplank is going to be very, very scary, and I think that's what they need to focus on for Team Fiddle at the moment. I think that's their best opportunity of getting ahead, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, next Drake is up. Obviously, Zed is quite far. Well, I'd say is relatively a little bit more pressure, shall we say, in that mid lane. As you're going to see the stunned up monkey going to come in, going to get that clone down. Charm not being used by the Evelyn, nicely held. Just bullied away. They can't get to these objectives, but yeah, I think with this Gangplank, the barrels, we know when it gets towards that sort of mid to late game, it can literally one-shot squishy champions, and Squiggly being an Evelyn, is actually kind of squishy and can pretty much get two-shot by the gangplank. So what Pommy is saying there, it's definitely not over, as we're going to see this solo bolo in that top side, just slicing down.
Yep.
Oh, the barrel. Nearly letting him escape.
Might catch her
Squiggly.
here. Oh, that's so big.
Oh,
Like, drop
my.
all the Medjai stacks for that.
All
10
the Medjai stacks as well.
All 10
10
stacks. Oh, la la. And the shutdown board as well. Did Evelyn have it? Evelyn must have had it.
Yeah, she
right?
must have
so-
done.
Yeah. And it went over to the Ari as well on Swifts, and they're looking. Oh, lovely charm there by Swifts. We're
Great
going to see
charm.
maybe coming in. The ultimate is going to be used. The Ziri is going to go down to half HP. The Taric shield's going to come out. Just misses the stun. Is going to have to flash that away. Can they get the re-engage here? If the charm landed there, and that could have been game over. Ultimate's not in use apart from Milio's. And the Xayah ultimate and the Taric ultimate still up and about. So having to try and respect this, as just that one Q does so much damage. And the Ari's wave clear, pretty much matching the Zeds here, but what a pick on that Evelyn. Pretty much got to go back to square one now with that Magi's.
Yeah, Swift's charms this game have been sensational. Multiple times now we've seen perfect charms coming out at the right moments, catching obviously ZB, catching the Evelyn, catching literally everyone that she chooses to charm. Swift is getting it, so it's just great. It's just really great to see.
Maybe this is why, you know, I was kind of picking on it earlier before we had a lot of action go on, but, you know, last game, you know, Team Wolf went into the enemy jungle quite a lot. We saw the Eve go in there for the one time, and that's pretty much it. But this is something we see quite a lot, Pommy. You may not see it in your ranked games quite often, but it's scrims. The ADC, the Taric going that top side, trying to get that push, because Shelly number 2 is probably not far away from around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you want to put your strong side to where the objective is. So if the objective's top side and your bot is doing well, Gragas is not having such a fun time, then stick them that side and you can contest it. Becomes a lot more difficult to do anything. I think they need to swap the gangplank down to bot, get that bot tower, get some gold in their pockets because they've got the shutdown gold now, and just trade it for the Herald.
Yeah, they've actually put the Gragas in the mid lane, so the Gangplank's going to match that. Ping coming out from the Wukong knowing there was a ward, and the Evelyn is taking that Scuttle Crab. No one's really moving to this top side yet, as another tower looking to potentially go down. The Kai'Sa wave clear is pretty big with that static shiv. Just misses the rocket. But Ping's coming out now, knowing exactly where people are. This is something, some scrappy could end up happening. Kitten maybe on this Gragas getting a Boomba through. The Rod of Ages now finished with 1 stack. 152 farm to 102 is pretty big on the gameplay, as Pommy touched on it earlier, and the amount of gold is. We see a chase going up in that top lane, and here comes the cavalry from just behind. Evelyn can't really go to the gap, but I think Ping's coming out, that they know they're there. This is big. Oh no.
This is going to be a repeat.
Careful here. Big plans. Yep,
Oh, over the wall.
dodge. But the Kai'Sa vision.
Gangplank coming around the side here as well.
Yeah, a lot coming up. The boys are coming up to try and get this. I think this tier 1 tower is pretty much going to go down, but Kebab is very, very strong. I don't think the Zed knows that they're on a ward here. Going to have to just W over. Maybe not. Ultimate going to be used. Maybe a charm coming out from Swiss there on the Zed, who's going to see a wildfire go down. But Diggy gets the solo on the Taric. Ult being used, and unfortunately Swiss has to get out of there because Kidden is there with the Gragas. There's a little fight here from Rift, and I think it may go over to Team Fiddle if they want to keep it up, but they're respecting the fact that mid-wave is pushed in and see if we're going to steal this away.
Yeah, a bit of patience there from the monkey, just playing a little bit of cat and mouse with the blue buff.
And like this, obviously, we're going to see a replay very quickly, actually. The Taric is going to go down. Misses the stun, barrel going to land, ultimate coming up. It doesn't really matter as the timing on that from the Kai'Sa, just making sure near the end just burns them straight down to nothing. Drake is now up in 60 seconds. Shelly number 2 is up. I think we've got about a minute or two before that turns into Baron. And a respect. I think I really enjoyed seeing that. The respect from Team Fiddle, Pommy. You don't often see that in most games.
No, I mean, I think they were right to be careful. Zeds can obviously burst people, and I know that the Milio and Kai'Sa were at half health there, so it's definitely a wise choice there. They lose that, they lose the Herald and probably Drake as well. At least this way they can trade, they get the bounty gold. I think it's about 500 gold for this, so it's definitely a worthwhile trade for them, I think. We just need to watch out for now they're giving them soul point on Team Wolf.
Yeah, Cloud again. Are we secretly in the LCK? It just seems to always be Cloud in the LCK, and it seems to be that way in tonight's skirmishes. But yeah, very good plays from both sides here. It's definitely not game over. It's actually Team Fiddle ahead by some gold just from those bounties. I think
it's just it's janky gold. It's
Yeah,
janky
I
gold.
think it's janky gold.
Riot Games.
Definitely.
They've got bounties,
There we
they're
go.
not ahead.
It's flipped. It's flipped the other way. It's flipped the other way now. Maybe something prod side of things. We won't blame Jay. Jay's doing an exceptional job. The whole team doing an exceptional job just behind us here, making us look better, I suppose. But Kai'Sa farming up away, 166. But this Xayah has a 200 gold shutdown for being 0-0-4. Obviously, the Blades and the Kraken now finished 2 items. I think the Kai'Sa's pretty much going to be on that second item now, as they're just going to base away.
Yeah,
We like to see this. Sorry, no, go Cook.
I was just gonna say it really quickly on the Kai'Sa. Obviously, she has opted for the Merc trades, which is obviously nice because it shows a lot of respect towards the sort of the charm and the Taric stun and everything else. But at the same time, that is then going to put Kai'Sa's E evolution back further. And obviously, if you're Kai'Sa, like, going invisible is also a really great way to avoid dying, you know? Especially when you've got champions like Zed that want to point and click you, Evelyn that wants to point and click you. So whether or not this will have, you know, the sort of intended effect that the Kai'Sa wanted will remain to be seen, or whether or not the delay will prove a detriment.
And we see the Divine Sunderer obviously on the Wukong now finished. That's quite a big thing for the Wukong. There's a bit of a power spike there, as maybe they're just getting bullied out for this Baron. I'm going to see an early Baron, but I feel like, yeah, Wukong's going to potentially get engaged, gets the W away. Great boomer there from Kidden, just spotting Brazil, as we're going to see Zed now coming in from the bot lane, as we're going to see Taric maybe go down. Ulma going to be used, the E from the Xayah, not going to stun anyone up. And Gangplank just creating some space, some vision, but the Zed is now here, and I don't think they saw it, as Swift is looking to push really far forward with the Gangplank into that mid lane, but not connecting. And then Aaron said they were landing charms earlier. Do we count that as another Gronk issue? Maybe. I'm not quite sure. It's Kebab goes down quite a little bit there.
I think it was a zoning charm, it wasn't meant to land that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it was a nice sidestep from Xena, because I definitely think it was a sidestep as opposed to a whiff. That's what we're going for here.
Just playing as the zonal cask is going to stop them from going from the top side. And again, a little bit of respect here from both teams. You know, Tommy, you said you wanted it to be a little bit scrappy. I think both teams are respecting each other a hell of a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. They pick double assassin, so you would have thought there'd be a lot more fighting than there actually has been. But yeah, no, it's they're setting up the control very well. They're getting their lead slightly further ahead every time we look. 500 gold, etc. So it's a good play from Team Wolf. One thing I've noticed, though, we haven't talked about it. The Kai'Sa's going AP and she's going lethal tempo as well. I'm not so sure on that. I'm not a Kai'Sa main by any stretch, but Hail of Blades, no?
I think we had a Tenchi in chat at some point. I know that Tenchi is a bit of a Kai'Sa enjoyer themselves. But yeah, it does seem a bit of a weird one for that. Why would you pick the AP here? Maybe the AD damage, not too much. Aaron, any thoughts?
I kind of agree with Pommy's suggestion on the Hail of Blades. I mean, if you look at what Team Wolf wants to do to you as an ADC, they've got double assassin. Are you actually realistically going to have enough time to get lethal tempo fully stacked over the course of a fight? I don't necessarily think so, even outside of obviously like the benefits of Hail of Blades in lane in those shorter trades, and even in general, right? So I would have perhaps liked to have seen the Hail of Blades here over the lethal tempo. But hey, you know, if they can keep the Kai'Sa alive long enough to get it stacked, then I think it then offsets some of that lost some of the lost, obviously, stats that we see from the Merchants coming in over the Berserker groups. But yeah, I think Halo Blades would probably have been perhaps a little bit more optimal, but we can quiz Tenchi on it later.
About 40 odd seconds or so before this next Drake fight. Now, the Kai'Sa hasn't finished that Nash's Tooth that we're looking for. 2 items up on that Xayah, 2 items up the Titanic, now finished, or the Ravenous, sorry, on this Zed. Oh, that poke damage coming in, and we're going to see... Oh, the charm. So, is this a sidestep, or is this a miss?
It's a sidestep!
Oh, it's
I've
a
not
sidestep.
cursed it! I've not cursed
It's
it!
a
That was actually a
sidestep.
6 sidestep from Xena.
But flat, so TP now being used in the Gangplank ult is already down. A little bit of a zonal work, but no damage really being used here. No vision on this side, and this is the issue, you know, pings coming out on this blue side, knowing the fact that Evelynn is inside their jungle. You see a lot of blue ping wards, apologies for that. But Evelynn's just going to back here. Do you, on the side of Team Wins, do you just let this go and look to potentially, you know, try and buff them off as the Evelynn's coming in? Xayah's just ripping into your base right now. Just let them have the goal. I thought that was stolen. I thought that was stolen by the ZQ right there. Anyone else?
Yeah, it was close.
It was close. I mean, I kind of like what Team Wolf did. I don't think they needed to rush for the soul, and realistically, when you have double assassin, you are looking for creative flanks. They weren't really in a position to be creative enough. I think what we saw earlier with the play towards the Herald was the way that they nearly funneled all 5 into the GP. So I think they just need to. I think they're just a bit aware that they need to pick their battles a bit better and be a little bit more creative with how they approach them.
Yeah, Baron going down incredibly quickly. Double assassin, Xayah. It's going to melt that Baron away, and I think that's what they were trying to do. You know, if they didn't show themselves at Drake, you knew they were going to be on the Baron play there. But with the Gangplank ult down as well, you knew there was no way they could potentially get vision on that. Unless they were in sight with a trinket, which we haven't actually seen at all from the side of both teams, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a worthwhile trade for Wolf there. They get 2 towers and they get the Nash for giving up their 1 Cloud Drake. So yeah, definitely worthwhile for them.
And the last time we saw them with the Baron was actually in the last game of the semi-final, and they did incredibly well at pushing all 3 waves at the same time. Their wave management seemed to be a lot better, but here comes Kebab with a lonely Xayah.
God, it's a horror.
And this is what Pommy said.
It's a car crash in slow motion. You just saw it.
You know it's coming, but you can't stop it.
Yeah. You're like screaming at the ones like, no, don't walk up, Xayah, please. Check your bushes. Queue into the bush, I beg.
Oh, potentially coming in, and just missing out there. Maybe not really knowing, or maybe wanting to get out just in case. Zed looking to punish, but not going to be able to. The TP being used. This Zed TP has been very trigger happy, I think is the term, as Tarek, you probably should not be there, my guy. And Tarek is looking to go down in, just heals up, maybe getting away, but Swift does get that in. This is potentially a cleanup. Obviously, they've got Baron, they don't want to go. That charm was definitely a miss that time. I'm not going to say otherwise, as the Gragas was just walking forward, potentially waiting for the dodge, but I feel like that could have gone a lot worse. But what can Team Fiddle get now, Pommy, with that kind of pick?
I mean, they need to use their tempo. They just got a kill onto Tarek. Eve doesn't have her ult, and neither does Gragas. They've seen them burn both of them. They need to get a tower. They need to get some map pressure and start making some sort of headway. Thus far, with 30 minutes in, they've taken 1 tower down. Should be 3 mid tower for them now. Yeah. Here's a Zed ult.
Yeah, going you, but Zed is just gone. He's gone back to the grey screen, as we're going to see the Eve trying to get something in as well. The Conqueror now stacked on the Wukong, but the Charm's going to make them disengage. Swift is now here, just misses the Charm, just out of range. Xayah is going to clear up. The wave clear on both teams is so strong. It's hard to get that kind of go, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing I do want to say about Team Wolves is that this entire passage of play for like the last 2 minutes has been really, really scatty from them. I mean, we know that they like to play scatty, but this is like completely out of control. They're just making so many missteps, and it shows that I think they're just kind of lacking ideas on how they want to play this. But they need to slow it down. They need to slow it down. They had Baron, they had control. They just needed to look for their moments, look for their picks, use that Evelyn pressure. But yeah, they just opted into some really, really strange plays over and over again, and yeah, are now suffering for it.
I think that's my caster curse. I said they're very good at pushing all 3 waves in. What do? Go to push 1, the turret gets away as the it's going to be some. That wasn't that much damage there. Obviously, the Luden's not finished on this this Kai'Sa. So could this be detrimental? Is it really doing what it is? If this was an AD Kai'Sa right now, probably would it be doing it a lot more, do you think? Or do you think it won't be as powerful as it is currently?
I mean, I think double AD or double assassin into an AD Kai'Sa, how many autos are you realistically going to get onto people? 2 or 3 before you have to flash away. You know, it's yeah, the only way they can play it is with the W, and Kai'Sa's not going to do the main damage there. It's going to be Gangplank. If he gets 1 barrel combo down and it's a crit, you're going to see their health bars just disappear. So I think that's the thing to watch out for.
Yeah, this barrel was going down incredibly fast as well, Aaron. But yeah, this Drake fight now is pretty big. Soul point, obviously, for Team WNS, and they're just bullying away. These barrels can zone so nicely. Missiles coming out from the Kai'Sa as well, but are we going to see ults up on both sides? This is going to be a big scrap, and it could be GG as Xayah is actually just pushing down in the mid lane here as the Baron, as the Drake is going straight down. Zenta, the ADC isn't there. Is this a fight you want to take, or do you want to make sure your base is not getting ripped apart? As the first...
You gotta get out of dodge, buddy. Hold the charm. Charm comes through. Got a side step. Is she gonna... Nice. 1-2.
Oh.
Wow.
Well played.
Oh, wow. The charm coming out now from the Eve. This could be GG if they get all this down, but the charm does miss. Kebab is looking to go down. Ult doing nothing from the Evelyn there. That normally one-shots me. The Kai'Sa looking to move forward, but the Eve is searching. Charm coming in, does land this time. The Wukong's going to have to ult just to make sure that gets some disengaged. Taric ult being used as well. Real early here as the Gangplank is back into action. Maybe we're going to see a few barrels come down. Maybe we're going to see health bars drop as the Hourglass is going to stick. Zed is in though. Zed is not dead just yet. W's in. Ours gets the ultimate down. 2 kills apiece. As Kebab now does though go down though, this could be the end for the Monkey, but the Milio is here with the cozy campfire. Queuing forward, and Zwift's now back in as ZB is trying to get out. W back up as well, and this should be well on their way to being away from this fight. But scrappy it was indeed. Oh, that could have gone either way.
Wow. I mean, I just want to say, like, Xena, absolute props to you. You held the letting the feathers fly as long as you possibly could. Obviously, the Everfrost was led first. Managed to let the feathers fly on that, and obviously then sidesteps the charm. Yet again, picks up 2 kills. Just fantastic play here coming out on the Xayah.
Yeah, I think held the E lovely there, Pommy, just to get that stun through. But 2 kills there. If that went the other way, Baron was literally about to come back up. Was that a Baron play then for Team Fiddle?
Oh yeah, definitely. If they'd, it's very unlucky they didn't kill the Xayah there, but well played to her. Yeah, I mean this is all just going to be a Baron dance at this point. You should see that Team Woof going to get control. They've got mid inhib, so they should be able to set up some nice ping boards and stuff. Very difficult for Team Fiddle to jump into face check stuff. They haven't really got a designated tank. Anyone that jumps in, like the Wukong we see here, just going to kind of get poked down.
Yeah, a lot of that ball just going around, and unfortunately I think the Wukong is going to go down. If the Wukong does, Cask does land on the Gragas, and I think the Xayah is going to get nearly one shot, but get that down. That's a free Baron, potentially wanting a little bit more as these supers are pushing in. Evelyn is looking for this Milio. The Milio, unfortunately, is just going to go down. Soon, as they're going for a dance around the campfire, and 1 key to the face ends it. Baron are already well on their way without their jungler, and the Kai'Sa and the Ari looking to push and try and get something. They do finally, Pommy, 34 minutes in, get your tower that you wanted down about 15 minutes ago.
It's never too late to get it down, but it'd be nice to see it about 20 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, I think this is suffocating as the Evelyn looking to come in. This is something you did say earlier. This explosive cast is already back up, the flash coming in. I think this could be well on their way to a bit of a GG as the ZTP coming back out again. And they've got the minions. Supers are still pushing. If they played this slow, the Supers will slowly join them. Top wave is looking to be a bit even, but looking to get their second inhib down, Aaron, and maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what happens here. Squiggly is exhausted now, doesn't quite kill the Wukong, but Zed does pick up the GP, and that's the main threat gone now on the side of Team Fiddle. TP channeled. Last tower going down, soon to be the Nexus. Team Wolf house in victory as they take this week's TGH Skirmish.
And incredibly cleanly as well. And we'll just wait for Prod to bring a load of the footage through. Tommy, is there anything they could have done? Obviously, the respect's happening very early on. That obviously tier 2-1. The tower disadvantage, obviously getting the objectives. It was all kind of here and there all the way through until sort of that 30-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they needed to split the map up a little bit more, get some deep vision, and let the Gangplank do his thing. I felt like they tried to force too many fights. They didn't. They tried to contest the objectives. I probably would have given up the soul, gone for a Nash. I felt like that was the best play for them. Instead they tried to contest. They got the Drake, yeah, but they lost 2 towers, Nash, then they lost it another Nash later on. So I think, yeah, definitely trying to focus more and play for Nash would have been a better call.
And obviously in these highlights, Aaron, earlier on it was kind of here and there. We saw Team Wolf get this early kind of kill pressure. The Evelyn in that top side with the Gragas. The bot lane was incredibly scrappy. This Milio pick, I think, was actually a great pick. I saw when we had it on your face was kind of like, a little bit of an interesting one. This Evelyn was causing so much havoc early on, and in this fight here, it just got scrappy, and it looked like there was more ways in for Team Fiddle.
Yeah, so, I mean, one thing that I actually really, really liked on the side of Team Wolf this game was when it came to trading off those dragons for elongating the mid lane, taking the mid lane tower, and then looking to take the mid lane inhib as well. By having that pressure in the mid lane, by having the minions moving up towards Team Fiddle's base, it then gives the more prio into the sort of the top side of Team Fiddle's jungle for the Evelyn, so she can get in and be more creative with how she approached it, which was something that obviously we sort of noted was a bit of an issue when it came to that Herald play earlier. But they made their really smart trades. They opened the map up more for themselves. They gave their Evelyn more creative options. And Squiggly really came through, I think, on this pick.
Yeah, and I think the Ari was really a good pick. It was coming and going. Just unfortunately, I couldn't help around that Gangplank. But what a game we just had. We had 2 very clean games. One was obviously a bit more of a stomp than the other one. The final was a great respect there. Nice early on. Some really new picks that Aaron's now going to have to weigh and scribble away in his board and keep it in his notepad ready for next week. Next week, if you want to join in, we're not sure quite yet on what it's going to look like, but join into our Discord channel, join in, play alongside me, Aaron and Pommy. We've got some TFT stuff coming up very shortly. Obviously, Gooseland is very much on its way in about a couple of weeks, along with Aaron's birthday. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we hope to see you very soon. A couple of minutes more, apparently, I've just been told. Pommy, how was your first time on have you been on a cast or anything like that before? Obviously not with us, but have you been on a cast anywhere else?
No, first time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smurfed it.
Smurfed
it.
right
Yeah.
in the
Smurfed
deep
it.
end there. Yeah.
Masters in League, Masters in the casting lounge as well. Absolutely perfect. GG's coming in the chats from both teams. The respect coming out is absolutely fantastic. And if there was one kind of hit or play, Pommy, from the final that you just saw there, that really swiveled it on its head, as we said, the mid game was really, really sort of respectful of both another. Obviously, once the Eve shutdown came in, what was the turning point, do you think, for Team Fiddle to lose that game?
Oh, one point. It's very difficult. It went back and forth a little bit there for a moment, I think. I think the second last fight where they lost the two inhibs, that was, or the inhib and I think the inhib tower in the other lane, that made it very, very difficult. You've then got only one way. You can see assassins coming into your base. Makes it very, very difficult to go out and face check anything. So I think that was probably the once that had happened, it was GG, I think.
Aaron, is there any way you reckon they could have got back into it? Obviously, kind of said about that gangplank coming through and making sure that gangplank, it was cooking up some gold there. I think we're all vets with the gangplank video, the money video. I think we watched it earlier on the other day, actually. But, is there any way that you feel like this gangplank could have actually got back into the game?
So I feel like for me the moment was when Xena came through with the 1v2 on the sort of on the Ari and the Milio as well. Obviously the GP did pick the Xayah up, but if they were able to kill the Xayah, I think they would have obviously then been able to transition to that Baron and give themselves a lifeline to really get back into this game. The GP would have been able to sort of keep scaling away, and maybe that was perhaps their moment to really come back into this game, was getting that Baron. But obviously it turned out the way it did. And ultimately, though, fair play to both teams. It was an absolutely fantastic final.
It was a fantastic game to watch, and we'll be back next week with plenty more action. Again, we don't know if we're going to see Pommy back here or actually playing for one, because we haven't really seen you play, as I know you scrim on a Tuesday night. We're going to finish it up here. Aaron, Pommy, thank you so much for joining me this week. And it's probably going to be me and Aaron again next week, and if Pommy's around, maybe Pommy, we'll see you soon. But have a fantastic night, gents. Have a fantastic night, Twitch, and we'll see you next week.
Regain my senses, had enough, I'm getting